Yes, the moral question is, why is Africa so feared? Why are most people afraid of Africa? Why is the world afraid of Africa's unity? Why is it that African leaders are being used to confuse Africa? Why is it that African scholars are being used to confuse Africans? Those are the moral questions we must ask. Welcome back to my channel. I'm called Mwaka Lutukumoi. I've been moving around to look for which topic we must discuss to pave the way for the Africa we want. I've got one thing. I've been doing a lot of analysis, but going forward, my name is Mwaka Lutukumoi, a Ugandan based in New York. Why? Because he ran away from Africa and is here in America to get safe haven. He's a torture victim struggling to speak using a speech therapist, tortured by African leaders back home under a regime of President Museveni, who has been there for 37 years. Lutukumoi was elected national spokesman, Democratic Party in Uganda. In 2011, Mwaka Lutukumoi and other opposition leaders in Uganda organized walk-to-work protests against high costs of living in the country. He was beaten badly, and the beating damaged his spines and the back and broke the hands. Over 8 Africans died that day. Many were injured. For many years, Emmanuel Mwaka Lutukumoi has been in pain. He lives in pain. He did the neurological disease that came as a result of the torture damaged his speech and movement. Therefore, he is crippled. There are many Africans who go through the same. I want to thank one of the YouTubers in Kenya when he was talking why African leaders are targeting opposition leaders. He talked of leader of opposition in Senegal who is being tortured. He talked of in Tanzania where the leader of opposition has been badly tortured and arrested recently. He made mention of being going through physio speech therapists. Why all this is because we are talking about Africa unity. We are talking about peace in Africa. We are talking about exploitation of Africa, yet we are losing our own here in the West. Today I want to give a brief about what we are about to start discussing in my channel. I've been doing a lot of research, both online and offline, and I discovered that Africa is number 2, or the second born of God after Israel. Which country jokes with Israel? Which country? Not even America. Africa is second after Egypt. After Israel. Why? Because they only migrated and left Africa, but all are God's people. Because before the African destruction by the West and those who entered Africa, like the Arabs in the 7 BC, Africa was intact. Africa was godly. Africans knew God. When they see pain, they heal the pain. When they see problems of productivity, they solved it. When there is any medical condition, Africans solved it. Africans knew what God wanted. God wanted sacrifice, lambs. Africans would kill goats, sheep, etc. Read, Google the book. Africans are notoriously religious. By M. Beatty on African religion. He emphasized a lot about how godly Africa was before they were disorganized by the rest of the world. Trust me, Africa was one. Africa had God by its side. I remember back home in Uganda, in the Luo or Acholi group. The Luo are like the Igbo in Nigeria and elsewhere. They would, when there's no rain, there's drought, the Luo would go and pray and sacrifice a lamb. The next day there will be rain. Just like the story of Abraham, who went to sacrifice his own son, Isaac, but later gave the sheep. So what am I saying? I'm saying even archaeologists, 400,000 years ago, though they say the Homo sapiens or human being migrated from from Israel, the recent study shows that 200,000 years ago, human beings originated from Africa. The DNA research done by Cambridge University, Google, on the Aborigines of Australia, found out that 200,000 years ago, the Aborigines migrated from Africa. That's where they originated from, and they're very smart, like the native Indians in America. I'm doing my research, and I'm sure they have the origin back in Africa because we have the same culture. That's why they try to finish them. That's why they try to finish Africa. That's why after the advent of the West, the East in Africa, everything Africa was portrayed as dark, a dark continent, a dark continent. But what African leaders are trying, I see France, I see Americana doctor and so on. All these are not thinking like real Africans. Our problem is not France, no. Our problem is not the West, no. Our problem is not Russia, no. Our problem is ourselves. We need to start thinking and waking up from the slumber, which is almost a nightmare. We must get up and start thinking and uniting and protecting what we have as Africa. Else, no one will touch us. No one. The world fear Africa. Look, people praise Traore in Burkinabe. They say the new Sankara. Who was Sankara? Who was Gaddafi? Who was Kwame Nkrumah? These are people who saw the strength of Africa becoming one and making it into the world's biggest power, militarily and otherwise. Africa is number one in terms of brain, culture, and everything. So today, before they close me from whatever forum I'm in, let's share the idea. I may not be alive for long because I've revealed the truth about what is Africa. There's no big difference between the God we know and the God they made us to know. Because the same God gives production, the same God gives crop. Famine, there's food sickness, there's healing, everything. Recently, a friend of mine in the US went and they got a stone having a pain in the back and the stomach. There was a stone found inside. I saw today one of the comedians making comedy on pastors healing Africans with the spiritual stone. It's true, they are stone, meaning Africans know that the stone exists. Whatever the strategy they use, I must tell you, we have the technology, we have the money, we have everything, the wisdom to be there. Soon, I'll be discussing about what Africa is, the culture, what made us who we are, and what we can be. I call upon you to subscribe, share this idea I have so that we can be bigger and better. Let me tell you a secret. The world fears us because we are godly, because we know what we want, because we are powerful. Imagine, the world is threatened by nuclear war made from uranium. And the only main source of uranium is in Africa. Only. That's why there's a big war in West Africa because of its uranium. We have 35% of the world's natural resource. What can defeat us if we are united? Our problem is not the West, the East, or France. No. Our problem is ourselves. We need to come with our own democratic or governance systems that can transform Africa and make it a United States of Africa. Thank you. God bless.